register, went through the register and looked at all the entries for all the lists that we have, from the valid voters list to the exceptions, multiple, went through the register, absent, transferred voter list, all the entries, went through the register that we have, and looked at the valid voters entries for all the lists that we have, went through the valid voters list, and looked at the exceptions, multiple, went through the register, and looked at all the entries for, went through the register that we have, and looked at the valid voters entries for all the exceptions, multiple, went through the register, and looked at all the entries for, went through the register that we have, and looked at the valid voters entries. Similarly, at the National Electoral Commission, through the Electoral Services, and its statistically, all those who transferred are what is reported in red. But in actual fact, those who are on the transferred list, which is what you have in your register, constitute 311 are what is reported in red. 340. But in actual fact, that's why I transferred list, which is what you have in your register. Because you are interested in the total number of people who transferred. But in actual fact, some people transferred several times, and so the number is higher. And indeed, some people transferred and then transferred for special voting. So we need to account for those differences that you would encounter when you look at your voters register. Total number of proxy voters, number 2,142. Number on the exceptions list is 33,500 represented 2 weeks and now. And this is because DRRO decisions have come into play. And so certain people have been asked to be put on the exceptions list. Last time we were here, we told you that there were some people who, because we couldn't, they didn't have biometrics, we're going to put on the missing voter list. In addition to them were people who had done the offline registration, but because of network challenges, we were not able to transport their biometric details into our register. These category of people, the Commission spent extensive resources to try and identify them. Try as we may, and despite our best efforts, we were not able to bring all of them to have them included onto the register. So that number is what we have on our missing voter list, and it constitutes 1,273 people. This number is about 0.0067% of the total voter population. Having said that, there's still the continuous effort to try and find them and include, Madam Chair said, on election day, a manual verification list will be made available. Exhibition of the revised provisional voter register starts today and will end on the 19th of October 2024. Within this period, we are urging every individual that we cannot make any changes to the register again, and we'll proceed with the register as the final. Also, if you visit the Electoral, I would do a bit of a demo for you. You have your voter ID via the USSD code, but now it is for free. You do not have to pay for it. In addition to that, for the political parties, an external hard drive will be made available to you at the end of this meeting, and that will contain the revised provisional voters register. And we've also given you a list of kindly collect these USB drives for you to check for yourselves and be abreast with what's the current provisional voter register is. Political parties. And that voter register, and it is called PVR issues at ec.gov. You can submit it to the Director of Electoral Services, and it will be used to further refine the voters register. And if there are any errors there that require fixing, it shall be fixed. Number, which refers to the number that you want to, like a designated number. So if it's the first case, you label it as 1. The region where you are reporting the issue from, the district that is involved, a polling station code of the individual that you want to report an issue with, and then the issue that you've identified. What is the reason why you are raising, you are bringing to the Electoral Commission's attention an issue that needs to be resolved? So for instance, if you think that the person has a wrongly spelled name, you can indicate there that the issue identified is a wrongly spelled name. You can give further particulars. Maybe the person's name was Ajay with an AG. AG AGYEI, but in actual fact can also ask that to be done as well. Then you put the name of the voter, the name of the voter ID. We can contact you. So your name is important, and we urge you to also add your telephone number there so that it's easy for us to call you if we have to. Then we are interested in your status. Who are you? Which political party do you belong to? What is your status in that political party? And if there are any other remarks, you can put it there as well. So once again, this is for us to get some feedback from you in terms of issues that have been identified by you on the revised provisional voters register that we have supplied to all political parties. And we believe that this will go a very long way for us to be able to resolve some of these issues in a timely manner before the end of the 19th of October 2024. So with that, I bring my short presentation to an end. And yes, you just need to dial your website. If you go to our interactive features on that says, what would you like to do? And then it's there, check your voter details. So you need to just click on it, and it will ask you to put in your voter ID. Let me put in my voter ID.
Your details have changed. I'm saying all your details down there. They really demonstrate this thing to you before you came. Because everything there has just changed.
Yes, so it tells you your status on the register. So it says that you're on the register. This is your name, this is your date of birth, this is the polling station where you are, which constituency you vote in, the district, the region, and the date that you registered. So in essence, it will bring all your registration details that are there, and that's a confirmation that you're on the register. If you are not on the register, it will tell you that you're on the multiples list or on the exceptions list as well. So it's pretty straightforward, and it allows you to check the voter details or confirm the voter registration details of any voter in the country. So those are the two electronic forms that are currently available. We are looking at in the next week, releasing an app that will be available on the Play Store and on the Apple Store. That's the same thing, but it's easier to run because it's a built-in app, and it's very user-friendly as well. So these are the means that we have currently available for you to be able to check your voter details. And it will continue, it will be in place up until the end of the year 2024. So with that, like I said, it was a very short presentation, so I bring my presentation to an end.
I think, Dr. Yao, I think whilst you are you need to get your team to provide current details for.
Yes, it's going to be done.
Okay. I think it should be done today.
Done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yao Ufori Ejei, for the presentation. Quickly, I want to rehash what he said regarding the short code for the re-exhibition of the voters register, provisional voters register online. So for short code, the code is *711*51#. Then you follow the prompt by entering your 10-digit voter's ID card number. As I said, 1 to 4 minutes is allowed for each rep of a political party to ask questions, make a comment, or express views on the presentation. Please, if you take the mic to talk, kindly introduce yourself and please be on your feet. We should try as much as possible to avoid repetition of comments. Parties, representatives. On this note, we'll send the mic round. Yes, we have GCPP. Next, PNC. PPP. Any other? NDP. APC. Yes, we can take this first 5, then we go to the next round of 5. Place the microphones are on the table. We start with GCPP. Please introduce yourself and then your party.
Okay, madam. My name is Citizen Atudaze, the General Secretary. PP. I recognize, however, I have a few concerns. First of all is, when we do not have the PVR, even though it's been indicated we will have it today. So it for us, in terms of timelines, it makes it difficult for us to be able to also go through it. The other thing is the certified register. Are we able to give us timelines as to when we will have the certified register? Especially when ballot statistics has been given. And the plan is that on Thursday, printing is starting. It's good. However, number one, people for money. Number two, others will take advantage in terms of, I mean, the last time the registration being done at district offices, when the exhibition, it might give undue advantage and also stress for political parties.
Thank you very much. My very good friend, we'll meet again. Madam Chair, thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here today and for you keeping to your words that in 2 weeks time from where we used to resolve the issues that were raised here. And you and your team line re-exhibition that has been given to Ghanaians. And it is the first time, as you said in your speech. Did you consider areas where internet is a problematic? Because Dr. Yao, am I right? Ajay, yes, said that we have over 1,000 plus voters that has got mission, and he attributed it to the offline registers. Perhaps they couldn't find them, and I think the last time he talked about corruption of the hard drive or whatever. I strongly want to propose to you and your team to reconsider, because we know whether if you have mapped out certain part of this country where people will have to climb 3 before they can make a call, such an area will have a tough time to be able to use the SMS, the online, to check. So I don't know whether if they will go there, you will give them exhibition stations, not the district, as you said. And most of these remote areas, district offices are very, very far. And I think all of us, many of us, if not, I'm coming from a village, and I know many of us are coming from a village as well. So if the EC can consider this. I'm saying this with reasons because just a few days ago, I was in my hometown, and to even make a mobile money transfer or withdrawal was a problem because the internet was having a problem. And I'm coming from the Boku area. So I want the EC to reconsider this so that, and of course, as Citizen Tuzazi said, if the IT director can tell us some of the technical system that they put in place so that no intruder will cause mayhem during this period of using your own gadget to go into the EC system to check your details. If we will not come back here for us to say that we have even lost data because maybe people might have ways and means to go in. I don't know how technically the EC is well equipped so that if someone wants to enter to the system to do anything bad, you can immediately detect it. The other aspect is, I think the names of over 1,700 plus, all of us are the political parties seated here. I heard the last time and today repeated that the EC had made some amount of resources to trace them, but they are untraceable. I think these are names, and I'm happy that you said it's part of the data, the hard drive that you'll be sharing today, so that at least we know each people by family names. If the political party, all of us can get back to check the names, and if we also know somebody who will find himself in the missing name, then we can draw your attention by your template. But you talk of narration. I don't know whether or this person ABCD. So I will appeal that instead of remarks number, so that we don't get confused ourselves. Yes, once again, I'm back the second time. And this 2024 election, I'm serious. It's dear to my heart as a young man at 45 years, becoming the national chairperson of the longest political party, which is the PNC, the first political party in Ghana. That, of course, yes, PNC was registered before MPP and NDC. If you don't know, go and cross-check. And PNC have, the notice of pool printing. And now we are also talking about provisions have been made plus or minus 2% for the provisional register to be printed. So we are quite sure that before the final register, whatever you're going to print, there won't be cause of alarm. my presidential candidate, it is heartwarming. I want to hear a good news from you, even though I'm in court. Yes, I'm in court. But when I get the good news, we will go to court and withdraw. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you. Oh, go you. What the like to do? That's my brother. Jerry, don't mind him, okay?
Thank you to PPP, please.
I have one major concern. And honestly, I feel very anxious and apprehensive about certain actions that the Electoral Commission has taken recently. As we speak, we are all aware that there are ongoing court cases against the Electoral Commission regarding the disqualification of certain presidential aspirants. Despite the pending court rulings, the Electoral Commission has decided not to give a hoot to anyone, to anything, and has proceeded to printing the notices of pool and also plan to print the ballot papers. Our concern is, what measures is the Electoral Commission taking? Because we also know that these actions by the Electoral Commission has the propensity to bring potential financial loss to the state. And should the court ruling overturn or to rule against the Electoral Commission, how are they going to handle this? What contingency plans do they have for us as a political party? We are concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The proceedings so far, we feel very much satisfied that of the process of the PVR that had seen challenges from more particularly another sister party, that's National Democratic Congress. I must say that this buttresses the fact that the whole process is purely by the CI. If we follow the CI, all the anxieties that have been expressed so far, to the extent of sometimes stirring what I call some dissatisfaction in the public, can always be abated. But in spite of that, I would still want to sound the caution to all of us, political parties in particular. So, certainly, as I stand here, I'm equally very, very obsessive with winning. But that should not be used as an excuse to stampede the commission. Is probably to put the commission in a very bad light. And I must also say that we seem to be dictating to the commission actions that are even not outlined in that. The a candidate in this year's election, had to determine to the commission what he terms as political party worthiness. You know, he thinks that out of the 13 political parties that have qualified, you know, at least with their candidates this year, he thinks some other party are more worthy than the political parties that have duly gone through the process and have qualified, you know, outside of the whole process that we know. And we don't think that that goes in line with the rule. So I would want to advise that, yes, it's quite normal to have big dreams, to also be line fringe. It could affect the security and stability of this nation. Lastly, let me commend the commission. We are very much aware that quite recently there have been a lot of international interventions as to about the process that the commission is undertaking to ensure free, fair, and transparent election. The demonstration this morning attests to that. And I think we highly commend the commission for this role. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'd like to appeal to you. Let's keep our comment and our views on the presentation made today. At this point, I would like to hand over the mic to APC. APC. Please, your name and the party.
My name is Dr. Hassan Erega. Because the credibility of the is in question. So we cannot talk here about the voter register without the credibility of the EC. So if you say we should limit it to the conversation here, then there's no need for us to be here. Because we have to discuss issues. And you, as the EC, must be worried about your credibility. And if somebody somewhere talks about your credibility, it is prudent for you to defend it. So if someone is out here talking about it, let's discuss it. It's part of election 2024. The Ghanaian people want to trust the EC, but the of the EC out there, then we should deal with it also here. Because we have gone through a lot of processes to get here. We filed from Maybe I should put the two of them together so that if one is not, the other one will listen. So let's be sincere. Political parties here have gone through a lot of work to qualify. And we have qualified, and if those who have not qualified has a problem, it is not on someone to sit on a different platform and say the EC is discriminatory. For the fact of the matter, I believe those of you here, in 2016, 13 political parties were disqualified under the same regime. the person who said it is discriminatory. It was under his regime that we started disqualifications of political parties. I was affected. Meanwhile, I feel to take the credibility of the EC. I want to advise the EC at all times, please publish the disqualification act of all those who have disqualified. Let them see what the mistakes they have made, so that nobody will come somewhere and be talking anyhow. We cannot sit down with all this credibility and somebody will say that we are not worth it. Then they should mention the party that are not worth, including the party that mentioned it. It's also not worth it, because they are all in the party. And as a matter of fact, Madam Chair, I think that going forward, it doesn't matter who, any party that you think has not properly filled the form, publish it. And if possible, send it to the police for investigation and prosecution. This is how it must go, so that people stop rushing to the court and wasting our time. And that must happen in this country. This is a country that we must all believe in. The EC needs to perform. The EC needs to have credibility for us to have a free, fair election and a peaceful election. So if somebody is playing with the credibility of the EC out there, it's already telling us, don't trust the EC. Don't trust the EC, and that is not what we want. I am running my election. I left my campaign to come here. My brother, so don't say that thing again. Then the issue of the biometric, the codes for us to know whether your voter ID card is not there. Madam Chair, most people do not have phones. There are a lot of people who do not have phones in this country, especially smartphones. And there are some coming from the villages. Like my brother Asaki said, Mr. Chairman, 45 years. You know, in those villages, somebody will have a phone, but he doesn't even know the code, what to do to get the name. So illiteracy is high in Ghana. And what are we going to do to correct the issue of illiteracy? Because it's very important. And another issue I want to ask. Anytime we go for election, the Constitution says that a person is deemed to be elected as president when he gets 50 plus 1% of valid vote. 50 plus 1. I've always been wanting to ask you. Votes were counted and 10 were spoiled. Now, per the Constitution, are we calculating the 90, 50% of the 90, or are we turning the 90 to 100 and doing that? Because the 10% too was part of the votes, but it's no more valid, so the valid one is 90. Why do we always use the 90 and the 100 instead of the 90? I want an explanation from this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Would like to give the mic to the Commission. Dr. Yao Ejay. If you have any response to some of the questions raised.
Thank you very much. I think the first question was from Citizen Atu. And I think I omitted to mention that the Commission will provide the certified voters register to the political parties in the first week of November. It's important to emphasize, and I think I talked about this in my presentation, and that we do not envisage that the final voters register would be a marked difference from the provisional voters register. As you can see, a lot of effort has been made to ensure that every applicant who registered, whether in 2020, 2023, and 2024, are on there. And so in arriving at the ballot statistics, although we do not have a final voters register, what we have done is to take the total number of valid voters, and we've added 2%, an increment of 2%. We believe that this is adequate to take care of registered voters. We do not envisage, as much as we hope that every registered voter would go to the polls, we do not envisage that this would be so. Even in 2020, when we prepared a new register ahead of the 2020 election, the turnout was 79%. And so you do not envisage that all the 8, we've added a 2% increment. So we believe that this is a sound methodology, and it will not result in insufficient ballot papers on election day. I think you also raised the issue of I don't. I think you talked about the assistance to individuals in areas that don't have network. I believe that Dr. Foria J would handle that. But with the missing names, it's important to emphasize that they are not missing. They are on the register, and they would be allowed to vote because they have ID cards. The only issue with them is that we do not have their biometrics. Their biometrics was corrupted in the process of transporting their data to our data centers. So they are not missing. I think it's important that we correct that. That number was way above the 1,200 that you see. As we discussed the other day, we provided resources. We generated a list of these persons and sent the list to the affected districts. And we provided resources for our officers to call them and to provide them with the funds to cater for their transportation in and out. And so this number has dwindled significantly to the 1,200 that we see. However, like you mentioned, their names are there, and you see their details and their particulars. If you do know them, because we've made the effort to contact them, if you do know them, you can also contact. Their ID card details are there. So come election day, when they show up, they will be on the list that will enable them to go through a manual verification process. Be that as it may, it is on the pen drive. The details are on the hard drive that we've given you, that we'll be providing to you, and you'll be able to contact them. Additionally, we can add their telephone numbers as well, on an Excel sheet later to enable you contact them. But we've done that. We've gone over and above. Over the last 4 months, we've tried to get in touch with them, and several have come through, as I said, and they have been included. So that number has dwindled significantly. I think with the court cases, we have these matters in court, so it is not for us to state so, but it's important to emphasize that there was no discrimination in the selection or the final, list of persons who qualified to be on the ballot. And we've said over and over again that the parties were provided an opportunity to correct. And this is not something that we are, the corrections had to be made. And so if it's on page 10, we zero in on and give you the particulars. We don't give you the nomination papers and say, go and look for the corrections or go and look for the errors. But we even gave you the details of the errors and gave you the opportunity to correct it. Unfortunately, some parties were not able to. What we have maintained is that where there's criminality, we do not allow you to correct it. And it's not in our place to point it out to you. Where there are minor errors on the face of it, yes, we point the details out to you and make it very, very easy for you to correct it overnight. And so, there's no unfairness in the decision to do this. 2 committees were established, a technical committee and an IT committee, and they did their work. It is their verdict that they handed over to the commission, and that is what we informed the political parties about. So I'd like to mention that there is no discrimination. There is absolutely no discrimination, but for the fact that we were in court, we would have published, and I believe next time, well ahead of the court, this is something we should publish, that these are the reasons for the disqualifications, for the whole, for the public to see that. Currently, because we are in court, we will not be able to do that. But I think that we should ignore the comments of discrimination. A lot of effort was made in. It was a fair and transparent process, and the facts are there for all to see. And I believe that we'll prove this in court as well. With the cost of elections, we are confident because the facts are there. The evidence exists to the fact that those who were disqualified did not fulfill their obligations. I do not believe that the commission should be tied down or the nation should be tied down to the court cases and wait until, the court cases are heard before we move on. We believe that the evidence is clear and that we should be able to present the evidence and defend ourselves in court. We do not envisage at all that there will be a reason to reverse anything, and we do not envisage that any loss to the state would occur. Thank you. I'd like to state, we recognize that not everybody has a phone. But we do also recognize that everybody has a phone. I mean, I do not believe that every Ghanaian doesn't have an Android phone. Everybody has a phone. I'm yet to see any individual without a basic Android. At least in the community or in the household, somebody will have that Android phone. And for the checking of your details, you do not need a smartphone. I think Dr. Oforia J would be able to explain this better than myself, but you do not need a smartphone. But I do believe that in every household in Ghana, somebody at least must have an Android phone. And the good news is that, we are advertising in the local languages. So it's not only in English, but in 7 major dialects. 11 dialects to enable citizens to have an understanding on how to access their data on the website. We mentioned last week that, the ideal situation would have been to print the registers and send them to all the polling stations. That would take some 3 to 4 weeks. And if you look at the timeline to the election, it is not feasible. So we'll continue to advertise in the local languages and call on people as stakeholders. We know your interest in getting people to the registration centers. We know your interest. So let's apply the same interest and the same zeal to ensure that these registered voters are able to check their details. And mind you, even with the exhibition, the physical exhibition, the participation is not that encouraging.
Jesus, to your name, to your name.
Something we should publish, that these are the reasons for the. It is not, the participation is not that encouraging.